Okay, it's Saturday, July 8th, 2023. Give you an update on Restack. So we created some user guides and linked them from our website on how to, not from our website, but from the Hugo the Parrot website on how to get on board with crypto. Maybe this is not an opportune time if you're looking at an investment point of view. I mean, maybe, you never know. But I think, just go on a sidetrack here, there's definitely been a phase shift. The world is not the same as it was 5 years ago, especially now with the US and Europe disengaging from China and Russia. A lot of things are being rethought, and people are actually seeking their governments for protection. They know that a bunch of hermits holding cryptocurrency aren't going to save them when the orcs come. But anyway, so yeah, and the other news is the BlackRock ETF. Now, I think this is a big deal. It'll give more people access to crypto, but then it also clearly defines crypto as an asset or as a security versus like alternate money. And the mainstream people who will access crypto, everything will be tracked, right? They go through BlackRock ETF, or they'll get these ETFs at their bank, go online, click. Now they're owning some Bitcoin through BlackRock. And when they go sell it, it's automatically put into a 1098 or in the US, it's automatically the capital gains, everything is automatically calculated and deducted. It's not deducted. I don't think so. I don't think the banks withhold. You actually will have to have that money set aside and pay that at the end of the year, or there'll be some hefty interest charges. So it'll clearly put cryptos. I think if the Bitcoin ETF goes through, there'll be a Ethereum one and maybe a altcoin one or something, but it'll clearly define it as an asset or security, and then it has to compete. Then people will compare this against companies, against tech companies doing innovative things, applying AI to take meeting notes and give a concise summary, saving the project manager an extra half hour after every meeting to do a proper summary. And then he can use that time to do something else, or the company can, keep the project manager part-time instead of full-time, for example. And there'd be a whole bunch of like micro savings that would just add up, just kind of the way like the Microsoft Office revolution. When Microsoft Word came out and we didn't have to use typewriters anymore, it created like a little micro revolution, and that got it added up with Excel, spreadsheets and AutoCAD, and all these things just started coming out one after another. And then there was this huge jump in productivity. So people might want to invest in that instead of something that depends on a doomsday scenario to succeed. Depends on apocalyptic outcomes to go up. Maybe the apocalypse isn't as close as we think, and there might be some big changes like what we're experiencing now. Yeah. So anyway, I just want you to know that our tokens, Restack token and Hugo the Parrot token, these are for entertainment. When you buy Hugo the Parrot token, you're funding a foundation. The goal with the Hugo the Parrot is to set up a foundation dedicated to saving African gray parrots. Instead of making an outright donation using a credit card, the tokens will offer you some entertainment value. We'll airdrop to the addresses that are holding the tokens, NFTs, and those NFTs can play in games like mini games. It's not going to be like Grand Theft Auto or Fortnite or something like this. No, it's going to be just some fun, like on the Starbucks loyalty app. There'll be just some small puzzles and games you can play, and maybe you can race your parrots or something. We haven't really thought it fully through. We have general ideas, but as we get closer to rolling something out, we'll scope it. We've already got a game engine that we built, a proprietary game engine So it can be shaped into many different options, like racing or fighting, like battle games, or even trivia or quest games. It has a lot of options. So that's why you would buy this token, like if you're at the office and it's cold outside, or you're sitting in a meeting and the AI is doing all the work for you, and you want to pass some time, you play one of these mini games. If you don't want to get caught on your phone, playing on the phone, then you can play it on a web app, on your computer or something, just like we were all doing during COVID, right? Playing like these Web3 games where you just click and then you come back a few hours later and click again, and you get to read some information. And it kind of occupies your brain or something. So yeah, so that's where we are with the Hugo the Parrot. We wrote the guide in Croatian and in English, and it'd be nice if people test it, do a feedback on it. So you go to hugotheparrot.com, and yeah, take a look, go through. If you haven't used crypto before, this would be especially interesting to get your feedback, to see how you can, first you get a Twitter account so we can keep you posted, and then you join, you get a Phantom wallet, I believe, is the next step. The step after that is go to the Bitcoin store. This is aimed at Croatians, so, but there's on-ramps in every country, where you convert your regular money to crypto money, and then you go to the Orca exchange, or you send it from your Bitcoin store to your Phantom wallet, and then you go log on Orca, and you buy the Parrot token, and that's all there is to it. But this is a lot of steps. We live in a world of instant gratification and extremely efficient UI, and still crypto has all this complexity. It would be nice if there was a way that people could go right on Orca Dex and buy the tokens straight up with a credit card. But as you can see, that's not happening. The crypto community doesn't want to comply with banking laws. They don't want to be classified and get the tokens classified in such a way that it can run in a compliant way and run through like a bank or something. They are all, it's a tired argument. I'm just over 50 years old, and I remember when I was 8-10 years old, we were hearing it's the end of America, the Japanese are coming, the national debt, all this stuff. And then, when the Soviet Union collapsed, there was this whole other thing too, like, all the economy will shift out of the US and shift to all these new and emerging countries. And then, the PC revolution came, the software revolution came, and guess who won that? Right? And then after 9/11, we thought it was doomsday again, and after the 2008 financial crisis, doomsday, this is the end of America, buy gold. The whole world is changing. The BRIC countries are coming up. This giraffe with 6 legs, 6 left feet, as I was telling in a previous video, this Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, this is like, or I should say, like a five-legged giraffe, and they're all left feet. That's what happens if you would put them together. It just so and here we are. Europe and America are stronger than ever now. So yeah, I think if you're going into crypto, you're going into it because it's entertainment, it's fun, it's something that's interesting, like the blockchain. What I like about it the most is, like I've said in previous videos, is the NFTs. I like that it's digitized the baseball card, or digitized artwork to a degree that it's authentic, like if you have the original one. And there's this psychological thing of owning like a real Picasso or a real Jackson Pollock artwork versus having a print or a Chinese copy or something in your house. There is something like that. There is something about the human psychology that you own the original, and NFTs are really good for that, for marking ownership. So for them to gain value, again, it's going to have provenance, rarity, and all of this sort of thing. But it's going to be a little bit more difficult than a hand painting, right? the amount of effort it takes to make a painting by hand is considerably more, but you can still capture most of the analog in this concept. And if the thing goes up to auction at Sotheby's or something, but at the end of the day, that's an asset, right? Just like buying stocks or buying a house or buying a rare car, or buying a Rolex watch. You're buying it, like art, you buy it because you enjoy it, but some people buy it as an investment. They buy like rich people, like they buy some. There was some I think Paul Cézanne or Gustav Klimt. Yes, there was one that was sold for $108 million recently at auction. You buy it, so there's like mixed motive, and it depends on who's owned it before. So blockchain is really good at that. Blockchain is really good at marking the ownership and having a provenance. And it's very good at like authenticating ownership, authenticating users. So when you log in, the person has the wallet. That that wallet can log into that address, and it's a way that I think we could stop like deep fake and fake accounts and all of this. There is a strength, right? Now, is this worth trillions of dollars? Maybe spread out over several companies, perhaps $1 trillion. So the merits of the blockchain, it's not a currency replacement, it's a technology, and it'll be valued as such. So we have to figure out what is it worth. Like, for example, what is like, AWS, Amazon, right? That's worth a lot because it's ubiquitous all over the world, and that's why Amazon got this valuation. It's more about selling infrastructure and technology for them than selling products even. So what is, blockchain? I think, maybe $1 trillion. Yeah, it's like 1/3 of Apple or something like that, or one Nvidia, that something like that, like 4 or 5 companies together, make it. And you're going to see SAP is getting in the game. Microsoft is going to get in the game, selling tools to make it easy to use. I think that's coming. They sit back and they watch. They're all followers. Most of these companies they follow. It's better to let some young people, innovate. They even make a few million, come up with an idea, mature the idea, and then the big players step in and buy them out or copy. Most of the time they copy the technology since it's all open source. The benefiters, the people who benefit from open source the most are the big companies actually, because all that R&D is put out there for free, and then their smart people come in and pick up where the others have left off and put something out there that we all can use easily, because they get UI and they get psychology, they get all of this stuff. So I think that's where it's going. We'll get some tool sets, it'll be easy to create a wallet, it'll be easy to create like a custom wallet, like for your token or for your project. It'll be easy to, I think there's already tools out there make it easy to create an NFT and get it on the blockchain, instead of using this like candy machine thing on Solana. It was incredibly complex to mint and launch NFTs. I think there's already a few startups. I saw one by a couple Stanford guys that were making like some easy launch tools. And I think there'll be some nice UIs out there where you can just, launch a token without having to do all this like coding on the back end. So all this no-code stuff is coming to blockchain, but it's going to be big companies. I saw SAP had created a tool set. Salesforce even is in this game, creating an NFT loyalty tool set of all things. Like Salesforce builds all this like out-of-the-box tool for like medium-sized business, small, medium-sized business, that they have the website, they have the customer loyalty, they have the CRM. It's like all this stuff in one. I was doing a course on it a while back. It's really well thought out, and I can understand why they're like considered one of the top 50 companies in the U.S. It's incredible. So these will be the winners, I believe, in the blockchain space, and that's where those trillions of dollars. Let's say there's like $1 trillion potential in blockchain. maybe more, but I don't think it's going to end up in small hands anymore. They just don't have the clout to talk to a government. They don't get the trust of the public. It's been a lot of scams. It's been a lot of, you got that guy from Binance like trying to go head to head with the U.S. government. And what is he thinking? That's like trying to take on the sun or take on the ocean. You just it's like trying to climb Everest without oxygen. It's one of those things you shouldn't do. So I think once that's all cleared out, you'll have Fidelity, BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, all coming up with these crypto exchanges built in with their stocks. You'll be able to select it. You'll have all the tax treatments will automatically be applied and be done. You get those statements at the end of the year, and that's where it's going, just like everything else. Do you remember in the olden days, when the PC revolution was going on, there was Dell, there was Gateway, there was a whole bunch of like these small companies, and I remember I was a big fan of Gateway computers, and they were in South Dakota, and everything was like a theme of a cow. Well, they got ate up, everything consolidated. Now it's like Dell and HP. I think they actually even merged. If I'm not mistaken. And then you have Lenovo. So it's, and then there's like a few other makers for gaming computers or something. It's very small. It's a very, very narrow choice compared to what it was in the 90s. And it's the same thing now. So we have 4,000 crypto projects, most of them mismanaged. When it all shakes out, there'll be 10 players or even less in this space doing NFTs, doing using crypto for loyalty, crypto for entertainment, something like that. So that's the era we're entering in. We're poising our consultancy to provide manpower to satisfy these needs. There's always a need for that. There's always like a need for finding the right IT guys, and that's all having like relationships with people, because not everyone can afford to go to a company like EPAM or Accenture and have those complex framework agreements. So we're trying to find our niche as like a small provider of highly specialized developers and architects. I think even architecture is going to become more important going forward, thinking up the solutions, because it's going to be, like I said, ChatGPT can write 80% of the code now. If it's been written before and it's sitting in a repository somewhere, ChatGPT will find it, put it together with some other ideas, put it together with some documentation, and produce you the code within a minute. It's pretty incredible. So if it's like extracting data type routine you need, or creating a login or something like that that's been done before and it's out there, it'll find it and write it for you, and it'll be pretty close. And so the developers will just have to finish off. So it'll be more important to be an architect and a thought leader, thinking how to make things more efficient, how to have better UI. This will become kind of the role of the developer. The developer will be, they're going to all move up to architects. It's just like we were talking about, like when before the fabric and industrial revolution, before everyone was weaving cloth at home, and you had to be really good at weaving and running a loom, and then all of a sudden the electric loom came out, or a steam-powered loom, and everything went to factories. So it was much more efficient to create cloth in a factory with a machine, and they could create. And then so people who were creating cloth now had to learn how to create clothes. So there was a lot of similar skills, but a lot of new skills that had to be learned. And it's just like that with AI. All the people were like writing this like very low-level code to like connect to an API, pull the data. Now we're going to be getting more into the design of the product. How it should work, how it can work better, looking for ways to make it more efficient. So that's where we're going with this, and that's what we're trying to position ourselves for. But anyway, that's all I got today. Take care. Bye-bye.